Why is it so hard to actually say what I feel?
Just keep it together.
Don't be too much.
Somewhere along the way, you learned to hold it in, to soften your truth, to shape your voice, to be easier to love. But your body knows, your voice knows, and there's a place inside you where nothing is forced, where everything real gets to exist. This is that place. Welcome to G-Spot. Can I ask you a question? What if the biggest thing standing between you and the life that you want isn't your past, isn't always your nervous system, isn't your fear, but it's the stories that you have believed that shape you? Because here's what I realized through this work. We spend so much time trying to fix ourselves without ever questioning if the thing we were trying to fix is actually true in the first place. My name is Graciela, Serena, and this is G-Spot Podcast. And something to contemplate. We're going to be going into stories today. I want to tell you that this is a huge part of my work. So if you are wanting to work with me, my info's down below in the show notes. We can do a whole package. We can do one-on-one sessions. It's really up to you. And also, side note, if you want a vocal coach, I am that too. So please reach out if you need support in any of those ways. But let's go ahead and get into the episode. Because this one is what a lot of the work is. And it's interesting, right? Like trying to fix ourselves all the time, you know? In my line of work, like we're not broken. We're really good at surviving. And then somewhere along the way, we find patterns that don't work for us anymore. But the reason why they're so hard to shift is, I've talked about it, nervous system, regulation, the ego, the things that want to stay the same. But really also it's stories. It's stories that we create that make a truth somewhere for us. We don't arrive into adulthood with a blank slate. Like in the intro of this podcast, it says, somewhere along the way, you were told to be silent. You were told you were too much. You were told yada, 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 right? Like that is a huge thing. That's a big part of why I do this work, right? So like examples of stories that you may have of yourself. I'm too much. I'm too loud. I'm annoying. I'm clingy. I'm avoidant. I'm anxious. Random one, I chew my gum too loud because my boyfriend in college told me that I chewed my gum too loud. And now I go like, really quiet. And I'm so self-conscious of it. That's not actually true for me, but it's just a little example. I can't sing. I should stay quiet. My opinions don't matter. Where did these stories come from? Who told you that? I'm going to tell you my story, one of my stories, and where it came from. I grew up with my parents divorced. And when I went to my dad's house, there were these girls that were always over. They lived with us for a while. They were practically my sisters. And it felt like my dad was always praising them, always kind of taking their side. It felt like yeah, he was really lifting them up in so many ways, and he was so hard on me. And so that naturally kind of started making me compare myself to them a lot. The story that started forming was I wasn't enough, and I had to be the best. I had to strive to be the best, and I had to be perfect, or else I wouldn't get recognized, right? So that's the story that I've worked with through my life and done a lot of work around. These stories aren't just stories, they become identity. When you're told that you are too much, or when you create a story that you are too much and you believe that, you will start to talk quieter. There's like a silencing that can happen. You can become really small, right? Maybe even you like are very shy. And sometimes that's just like a part of like it's okay to have a shy nature. It's okay to want to read your book instead, want to, but there's also this part sometimes when it feels like it's actually wounding. It's actually like I've been told to, that I am too much and so I should just keep quiet, or I'm scared of what other people think, or like I can't let people actually see me, so I'm just going to be tucked in my room, things like that. If I believe that I have to earn love, then I'm going to become a people pleaser, an overachiever, and I'm going to overgive, right? Which, hello, story of my life in a lot of ways. And it also, got me into a lot of relationships where it wasn't, reciprocated, a lot of dynamics that just weren't actually serving me. And it ended up having me become super misindependent because I needed to gain love. So I had to be a powerhouse, right? So this also connects to like the episode 13, which I believe is why overgiving is exhausting. And if it's coming from a wounded area, then you're just like fostering this wound over and over and over again by overgiving and overextending yourself. I want to invite curiosity, okay? Because listen, we can come to these scenarios, right? And be like, oh, that isn't true. Do I actually believe that? Do I actually believe that isn't true? Just because you say something, like over and over again does not mean that it's going to land in your body, right? So obviously there's embodiment work and things like that, which if you work with me, then you know, or if you do it with somebody else, then you know what that is. And if you don't, like, I'm here, reach out to me. But these are some questions that I would maybe start with and ask yourself, right, in those moments. Who first taught me this? How old am I? Is this always true? Or is it true at all? Who would I be without this belief? Would I say this to somebody I love? Ooh, big one, honeys, because we love to love our people and then like we fall short with ourselves. But would you say the things that you say to yourself to somebody you love? Does this belief help me grow, or does it keep me safe? Okay. I think one of the hardest parts about becoming yourself is that it's hard to separate who you actually are and the voices that have consumed you and that have taken over to become truth, right? When we can start deciphering what our true intuition is, what our true voice is, we can start to see, oh, snap, that's not my reality. And the fog starts to fade. Who do these voices come from? They can come from your parents. Obviously, that's a big one. They can come from your exes, from your schoolmates, from your friends, from culture, from social media. Yeah? They can come from all over. What do you actually have to say? Maybe the next time you feel yourself go into overachiever, overgiver, or negative thoughts, ask yourself, who told me that? When did I start forming this belief? Is that true? We don't catch ourselves. We don't realize how much we put in our brain, how much we can talk shit about ourselves, how much we can just reel on negative thoughts. If we stop the pattern and we're like, who told me this? Where is this coming from? Right? Your true voice is in you, waiting to be heard. And I don't believe that it's always talking crap. I don't believe that your true voice is wanting you to always overexert yourself or wanting you to overgive. You've got to separate it from the clutter of the voices that live rent-free in your skull and from what you truly want and what your intuition is. And there's ways and practices to help you with this, but it's good to start asking these questions. Okay? I don't want you to feel like these stories have to be your identity. There are ways to shift. There are ways to rise. And there are ways to let go of old stories and old patterns that no longer serve. And that's partially why I'm here, babes. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Rate it if you dig it. And I will see you next time. I love y'all so, 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 so much. Bye.
Thank you for listening to G Spot, where your truth turns you on. This isn't just something you listen to, it's something you live. So take what landed here and bring it into your next conversation, your next boundary, your next moment of truth. If you're walking this path and want to go deeper, find me on Instagram at Graciela Serena Music. You can find more information on how to work with me below in the show notes. And if this resonated, let it travel. Share, comment. I would love to hear from you. But most of all, remember, your truth isn't too much. Your voice isn't the problem. Stay there, in that place where it's real. I'll see you next time.